There comes a time when we have to stop negotiating with ourselves. We have to start embracing those irreversible shifts that lead to the most unapologetic, raw expressions of ourselves. This is Sexy Rebel Spirit, the private podcast by House of Andrea that drops live every single day into our exclusive Telegram space. If you're not in that space and you want to join the conversation, you'll find the link to it in the show notes. It's sexuality, it's rebellion, it's spirituality, and how these three things are simply the expression of who you are. This is your calibration portal, and this is where it all gets to change. So let's dive in. Good morning, gorgeous. Just dropping in with a brand new art piece that came through this morning. I got up and went for my walk, as I always do. I was just tuning in and like, what is the energy that is surrounding us at the moment? What is it that wants to come through me particularly? And today is actually a little bit of a emotional day. Like I can feel that it's like a quiver. It's like a quiver in the frequency. And sometimes when we think about emotion, we go into that place of it being not necessarily wrong, but wobbly, vulnerable, weak, not in a bad way, but it's like we consider it a lesser of the frequency spectrum. You know, when we're in that emotional day, we're in that day where we're feeling our feelings and we're moving through those things. We want to feel like we're being unproductive. We want to feel like we shouldn't be doing that, even although we know that's where growth and expansion comes from, that feeling our emotions and allowing the movement of that energy to move through us and to clean and to expand and to show us the depth of capacity to feel. We can, it's Monday here in Australia, we can wake up and be like, gosh, like, why am I feeling so much? Why am I so emotional today? Like, today should be a productive day. Like, it's Monday, it's a work day, it's a whatever the label is day. A day where I'm a mom, a day where I'm, at work, I'm building, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, we have these kind of like stereotypical stock standard cardboard cutout expectations based on the day or the time or the moment that we're in. And if we're in a slightly different state, that can be hard to correlate. And so I went out this morning and I was going for my walk and I'm like, I'm feeling all the things. Like, my husband just walked in before and said to me, what do you want for lunch? And I was like, I just don't want to eat. I don't want to be a human who has to decide 3 times a day what meals they're going to have. And then I just burst into tears and I was like, oh, this is one of those days where I'm just in this receptive state of feeling things. And there is actually power that resides in that. There is power that resides in being someone who is so connected to themselves, to energy, and to their spirit that allows them to feel the depths of feelings. And so when I was sitting down before, and I was like, right, I should work on, I've got to write emails and I've got to do this and this and this. Like, I had a productive, this is what I should do today list to feel like I am, doing the right things in my business. And I sat down, and when I went to start tackling those things, my mind just went to, no, there's energy here that needs to be expressed. There's this depth of feeling that needs to come through. This is a moment to work on a new piece of art. And I too try to work on my art practice every single day. It's not always perfect and it's not something that's structured, but I know art, expression, voice, these transmissions, showing up in this way is part of my soul's calling. It is part of what my soul is here to do. And it is my, not duty, but it is my to show up as the full sense of my life and who I am. I have to allow those things to be the main pillars of my day, of my life, of my expression. And so when I sat down today to tackle the to-do list, it's like, no, there's medicine that needs to come through in the form of art expression today. So I was like, okay, I would follow it. And as you've probably seen from a lot of my work, I like to work with photography to really capture movement, emotion, expression, force, and power. And when I was going through some of my photography, some of the pieces that I had sitting there today, this one really called out to me, because in the field around this sense of really feeling the emotion and the depth of everything that is around us, there's this ungovernable, powerful expression that like feels like it wants to burst forward through us, that's coming through at the moment. And so this word, like ungovernable, kept coming through in this particular photo. I love it. It like really landed in my body and my field today, because, you know, as photographers or anyone who works in any of us actually, who we're trained to try and take the palatable photo. We're trained to try and take the perfect angle, the one that expresses not only perfection, but just this sense of, this is how I look, I'm having a good life. Like, it's a very well presented, projectable image of ourselves. And this one I love because it's at that low angle. It's shooting up her thighs, which most of us, particularly as women, if we've had any kind of journey with our bodies that has separated or disassociated from ourselves, or we've ever felt incomplete in the way that our bodies have been crafted, we don't necessarily love this angle. But in this image, there is so much power where she is looking down into the camera and it's coming across her body, that she's just like, this is who I am. And there's imperfections, like just the way some of the things are sitting. There's so many beautiful, powerful imperfections in her body that I love, because she's just owning them. And she has this real, like, I am here, I am owning the space on the beach. I am willing to be seen from any possible angle, because this is me. Like, she's anchored in that power. And that just felt like what was bursting forward today. It's like this standing on the rooftop energy of like wanting to be like, God, this is who I am. This is who I am. And this is how I'm choosing to be expressed. And so it came through. There were lots of different iterations that happened. I've been working on this deeply for the last few hours. I was originally like writing like up her legs and around her energy in her field, and like writing lots of different things. But the essence that really landed was just these simple words of ungovernable, unstoppable, unownable, sovereign herself. And so I ended up clearing the image essentially and like stripping it right back to just bring through the power of these frequencies, so that we can really anchor into that. Because sometimes artwork calls for a lot of words, a lot of writing, like that journaling style writing that is the outpouring of poetry or words. But this one just asked to claim the energy, and then put the tattoo on the inner thigh around the sexy rebel spirit, because it's like the inner thigh is like often attributed with vulnerability, with trauma, with like, being sacred and protected, hidden, all these types of energies. And I'm like, no, she is claiming that there in that space. And she doesn't care who sees it, because she owns it for herself. And so sometimes we can work on our art and our medicine over and over and over and over, but this felt complete for me today. So I'm going to be releasing it into the world via socials in the next hour, once I bring through the words that will sit in the caption alongside it. But I hope that there's, by me sitting down and just sort of sharing the behind the scenes with this for you, there's codes in this for you, there's medicine, there's something that your soul hears in these words and sees through these images, it starts to tap into and awaken that remembrance of your power, your willingness to be seen in your body as you are right now, and just claim it. And like, if you do want to get into that frequency of shouting it from the rooftops, then do it, like own it. So I am going to just let this energy permeate my field, let it shift out some of the emotion and vulnerability, some of that energy that wants to move within my field today to like really anchor deeper and deeper and deeper into this frequency. And I'm just sending you so much love. I hope you have a magic day. If there's any more transmissions that drop in later today, I'll come in and pop those in. Otherwise, have an incredible day, and I will speak to you soon. One last piece just dropped in around this expectation of ourselves. I was just explaining to Matt, I was just showing him the new pieces before they go up, and I was saying to him, like, there's this part of my brain that wants to shame myself for, instead of doing things that were productive or were mainstream in terms of this is how you build an online business, this is how you behave as an entrepreneur, this is how you do X, Y, and Z to execute and do the right things in business or entrepreneurship or, you know, showing up as a coach. There's this big part of me that wants to shame myself for spending my morning creating art instead of creating marketing. And Spirit have just set forward very promptly, because I just sat down at the table to be like, okay, what do I do next? Like, you know, and that feeling of shame started to rise. And then my spirit team just stepped forward and said, this is the work. This is the work, getting into the truth of who we are, getting into our voice, getting into whatever the unique form of expression of ourselves is. That is the work that's needed in showing up and creating the businesses that we want to do. And I'm not saying everybody in this space or you want to create a business, but you following who you are and stepping into the truth of your expression is what magnifies and magnetizes those that you want to connect with, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your art, whether it's in your coaching, your work, your business, your thing that you want to create, that you want to have birth through you into the world to make your life leave a legacy or leave something behind. Following those nudges of your soul, following that intuition, that is what is exactly needed. My spirit team just brought this huge reinforcing message of like, don't fear that you're not following the steps A to Z. Don't fear that you're not doing it the way that everybody else is doing it. You're not doing it the way that the strategy, the gurus, the experts in whatever industry it is are saying. This is the way you are successful. This is the 10 steps to creating whatever it is that you want to create. Don't be afraid of doing it differently, because getting into that unique expression, that unique way of doing it your way with truth, not with blatancy, not with nonchalantness of I'm just going to do whatever because I don't care. Not from that place, but they're saying if you can get into the frequency of true expression and you can show up at the altar of that expression at dedication, even if it terrifies you, even if it's scary, and allow what sits deep within your gut, deep within your soul, to be expressed in only the way that you can express it. That is what people resonate with. People are going to see. My team said to me, like, it makes me emotional, but they said to me very clearly just minutes ago, like, the art is what is going to help people read, feel, and match with my frequency, calibrate with my frequency, because I made this powerful decision days ago that my work isn't about teaching, whether it's in this space here, in this Telegram space, whether it's in one-on-one, whether it's online, whether it's through my art. It's not about teaching. It's not about having the perfectly executable plan. It's about expressing my frequency in only the way that I can, so that people have a place to calibrate to. So that their soul and my soul, which inevitably have known each other for a very long time and are reconnecting or finding themselves again, or if we're meant to connect, they will find that they will see and feel at an unconscious level that frequency match. And then they'll calibrate to it so that they can start to unlock the pieces within themselves that I've already managed to unlock, or I'm in the process of unlocking, or have the abilities to help them activate and unlock. And if I was to show up and be like, well, this expert online is creating content in this way and in this consistency, and these are the exact types of reels that you should film, I could do that, and I have done that, and it never worked. It never landed. And so my team this morning were just like, you and everybody in this place needs to come back to creating these calibration points and these calibration portals through only expressing in the way that feels aligned to you. And so I just have to keep walking forward, trusting that the more that I create, the more that I strip back to become the true expression of what my soul is here to express, and not worry about all of the other stuff, not worry about appearances or perfect strategy or perfect posting. Get into that frequency of expression, create that calibration portal. It is going to unfold. It is like written. That is It just is. I love that saying, you know because you know, and it is because it is. And so if there is something that you are working towards, there's a reason this transmission is coming through me and through this experience to land in this space today, is to remember to abandon the shoulds, the have tos, the expectations, and come back to the rawest, truest expression of your voice, of your medicine, of your frequency. So that not only can you find and match with the calibration portals that you're meant to, but you can become those for others that you're meant to guide as well. If you're not in there yet and you want to get into the private Telegram space where all of these audios drop every day, as well as all the art, the conversation, and the behind the scenes, go to www.andrealeemathies.com/private podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram at Andrea Lee Matthies, and you can find more about me and all of my work at andrealeemathies.com. I'll see you in the next transmission.